Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's Gary here. I had to change it up a little bit. I'm in my kitchen today because I'm getting work done in my office. So I don't know. We'll see how I like it in here. It's kind of bland. Anyway, the subject today is, and I was thinking about this. Of course, I think about a lot of these things. I don't write. Sometimes I'll write content down as a note to make a note of what I might want to use and what I may want to just throw out in the garbage can. And I was for sure I wasn't going to do anything for a minute because I got a few videos backed up. But I was thinking about this today because I was downstairs doing my workout and a song from the 70s came on. It was a disco tune. I'm thinking, man, that brought back memories. And back in the day, before I was, my high school years and 2 years out of high school, I was in Boston, in the Boston area, in the suburbs of Boston, and right outside of Waltham. From Waltham, we used to take a bus from Waltham into Fenway Park, and that took 15-20 minutes at best to see a baseball game. If you've ever seen a baseball game, you got to see a baseball game at Fenway. That's the real park. Fuck them Yankees. Anyways, so I'm getting off topic, as I always do. So my subject is if you can't dance, you can't kiss, well then you can't fuck. I mean, for lack of a better word. So, and that's true. I did actually some research, and I didn't start doing the research until I got out of high school, because I always used to love to dance. I would go from age, I think the first dance I went to, I was in 9th grade, and I was in a junior high school. Because the junior high school I went to had 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, and then it jumped right into senior, sophomore to senior was the high school. It was weird. But anyway, so my first dance I was in 9th grade, and I just had the rhythm. I just felt it. You know, you either know you have the rhythm or you don't have the rhythm. I'm not saying I was the best dancer in the world. Far from it. Far from it. I was no Fred Astaire. But I used to enjoy dancing. I could move. I could move to the music. And so I was usually the first one up. There would be all wallflowers on the women's side. 9th grade, people were awkward. Maybe this was awkward. I mean, you probably have your own sort of personal experiences. But on one side of the gymnasium were all the girls lined up all along the wall where the term wallflowers came up. That's how the term came, wallflowers. And then on the other side was all the guys leaning up against the wall, looking, eyeballing each other from across the room. It was so fucking weird, man. Anyway, I walked right out. I walked away I was the only guy in my class. There was probably, 35 guys, 35 guys. And I walked right out to the dance floor, like maybe 10 feet away from the wall. And I'm just spying the girls. I'm trying to get eye contact. And I'm trying to see someone who's kind of already grooving in their steps. And I would find someone and I'd pull her out on the dance floor. We were the first people on the dance floor every time. No. So, but, that said, then I go on to get out of my formidable years and I go out of high school. Now, like I said, in Massachusetts, the drinking age was 18 at the time. That was 1978 when I turned 18. The drinking age was 18. You could buy beer and wine at 18. You couldn't drink liquor, but you could buy beer and wine at age 18. And so my parents held me back in 3rd grade. I was just whatever. I was just not grasping the whole itinerary of academics. So I was a year behind everybody. So I was a year older than everyone my senior year of high school. So I was able to go to they call it the Packy. If people are watching this from Massachusetts or the East Coast, you know what a Packy is. It's a pack. They call it a Packy, but it's a package store. They sold beer, wine, hard liquor, cigarettes, lottery tickets, and back in those days, that's the only place you could buy alcohol. You couldn't buy them, and they had state stores. Where state stores were they would stock not beer, but they would stock booze. That's the only place you could buy. That was the only place you could buy alcohol back then. The dust fairies got me again last night. Them mother. Anyway, So I would go, my friends in high school would say, hey, Gary. And in the Boston, I never did catch the Boston accent. I wasn't living there that long. I only lived in the Boston area for 4 years. That was it. Maybe 5. Maybe 5 years. Almost 5 years. Anyway, the guys I hung around with in high school, these guys and the girls, they all had this Boston accent. They don't pronounce their R's. If you want to really watch a good Boston accent movie, watch that movie, Good Will Hunting. It was filmed in Southie, which is a rough area of Boston. But it's Anglo-Saxon, Catholic, mostly Catholic, white community, and rough community. I mean, have you ever heard of that guy Whitey Bulger and the Winter Hill Gang? He came out of Southie. That's another good movie, Black Mass. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. So my buddies in high school, they say, hey, Gary, what are you doing after school today? And I'd say, because I was no academic genius. I hated school. Fucking hated school. I remember saying to my teacher, where am I gonna use Algebra 1 Part 2 in the real world? Where am I gonna learn this shit? Where am I gonna apply this shit? I'd wise off to the teachers. Anyway, excuse me. I would wise off to the teachers like that. Guys say, hey, Gary, get your car, pull it around, pick us up. I'm gonna go to the Packy. You gotta go buy some beers. I'm like, okay, all right. I would charge my fee, of course, because I didn't have my first drink of beer until I was, I think, 19. I was a late bloomer. I was a virgin until I was 18. And it's funny because some of the people I know in Cincinnati, they were tapping something at age 12. I'm like, are you kidding me? Anyway, that's a different subject altogether, folks. So yeah, I was a late bloomer in a lot of areas. So yeah, we dropped to the Packy. I'd go in there, and they'd of course I had a baby face then. They'd card me, and they say, hey, this is a fake ID. There's no way you're 18, man. There's no way you're 18. Then I pull out my Social Security card. That's back when I still had a Social Security card. I don't know where it went. I've lost it. And they say, yeah, I guess you are 18. All right. Okay, here you go. Have a good day. Thanks for coming in. Have a good day. And away I went. So, but getting back on topic of dancing. So out of high school, my family stayed in the Boston area for 2 more years before they decided to branch out and move to Cincinnati, Ohio, which is where I am now. And it's a nice city. It really is. Anyway, so, and we had the best football team in the entire NFL. That said, I'm going to go back on topic. So anyways, I would go to these dance clubs right around then, like 1979. I graduated high school in 79. And so between 79, I think, and right, I mean, I know disco started way before I graduated high school, but it was at its peak in 79 and 80. And I used to love going to dance clubs downtown Boston. There was this dance club called Boston. It was three floors. The bottom floor was a dance hall. The second floor was a dance hall. And the third floor was couches that lined the whole room, couches, and you could barely see your hand in front of your face. That's how dark it was. There was all kinds of hanky-panky going on those couches. And I said to my buddy Kevin, he was my wingman, I said, hey, Kevin, let's get out of here. Let's go downstairs. This is not our style up here. Like an orgy pile up on the third floor. Anyway, so we go downstairs. Now, Kevin couldn't dance. He had 2 left feet, but which was really strange because he was a drummer in a band. So you have to have rhythm to play an instrument. Which really threw me for a loop because I always thought if you're a musician and you could tap your feet and keep a beat, keep a rhythm, if you could be in a band, surely you could dance. That wasn't the case. I knew a bunch of guys. I played in a garage band. All I did was sing. But I mean, I played in a garage band and I saw a couple of these guys. They could dance. But Kevin, he had 2 left feet. Couldn't get out of his own way. He would jump around the dance floor. He had this long, stringy blonde hair. He looked like Robin Zander from Cheap Trick. Looked exactly like him, actually. So we go to these discotheques, and he'd go with me because he was a year ahead of me. And he worked as a busboy in the same restaurant I worked in. And he couldn't dance. He couldn't dance to save his fucking life. And he would go through women left and right, left and right. And I'm thinking, how are you going through these women all so fast, man? But so getting to the point I'm trying to make is this. I discovered my last year living in the Boston area is when I started fornication, proclamation, assassination. I was doing it, I was doing it. I had broken up with my high school sweetheart and I was doing it, And I discovered that I would ask girls to dance in these discotheques, and if they got on the dance floor with me and I'm moving, and they couldn't dance, you could tell they couldn't dance. They were awkward. I mean, they were doing the best they could. I mean, they're moving the top a little bit, doing this, just doing this. Anything above the waist, they're just doing this. But below the waist, their feet weren't moving, nor were their hips. And I just started calculating that, I didn't screw all of them. I didn't. I was pretty selective. Even then, I was selective. But it wasn't until I moved to Cincinnati in 1981, late 81, early 82, I continued to go to clubs. There was dance clubs all over the place. But by then, it was rock and roll. And I could dance just about anything you play. So everything except jazz, that stuff just makes me want to vomit all over the floor right now. Just the word jazz, it makes me want to vomit all over the fucking floor right now. And I don't understand that music. Anyway, that's when I had, those are my years that I did a lot of, that stuff. You know that sound, right? Anyway, so I discovered that I think the first gal I dated, I started dating some gal that I met at the restaurant in 1983, and she was a waitress and I was a busboy. She couldn't dance. She could not dance to save her life. 2 left feet. 2 left feet. And I said, okay, that's fine. That's cool. I didn't start taking notice or calculating any of the averages until then. Well, our relationship went to another level, and so we started to make out in the backseat of my 1971 Mercury Cougar. And she couldn't kiss really well either. I mean, she was all... Guys out there, maybe gals can listen to this too. I don't know, but have you ever kissed a woman and it's all hollow in there? You're working your tongue. You're trying to do the little French kiss action like it's supposed to be done, and it's all hollow. There's nothing in there. You're just like, and you're looking for something to hang on. There's nothing in there. That's a fucking shitty ass kisser right there. Or what's worse is you're kissing someone and she really has no clue how to kiss, so she just jams her fucking tongue down your throat. And you're like, what are you trying to do? Taste my food I had for dinner? What the fuck? Those are people that cannot sing. I mean, they cannot dance, cannot kiss. And so I said, okay, fuck it. I'm not going to bother kissing her, right? Her name was Kim. Never forgot her name. Never forgot it. Anyway, so then we got to the part where we went up to her apartment after a party, like a day, 2 days. There was a house party that she was having. She had 2 roommates, and we had both been drinking. We went and sauntered upstairs to her bedroom and just got naked and started to fool around. And she was real awkward in the sack. I mean, she was. I'll give you an example of what I mean awkward. She's laying on her back like this, and she's looking at the ceiling, and I'm on top, and I'm working. I'm going to town. I'm missionary position. I'm on top, and I'm working. I'm trying to get a rhythm. I'm trying to concentrate. And I'm working it. And she's laying there like this, with her hands out like this. And she's looking at the ceiling, and she's going, Blue, no. White, no. Yellow. And I finally said, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? She goes, oh, just trying to figure out what color my ceiling would look good in. That's no shit. No shit. God's got his truth. She didn't say that. That's a joke. But I mean, really, just laid there like I was fucking a dish rag. Really? So I knew right away So I finished up. You know what I'm talking about when you finish up, guys. Got up. I said, you need anything? The whole time after, I mean, she didn't participate at all. Just lay there. Like she was, like I was fucking a corpse. You know, just laying there. I mean, are you serious? You're not even getting involved? You're not even going to get involved. You're not getting involved, right? Had a stupid look on her face. So that was the first and the last time. I mean, I didn't even finish. I just pulled out, said, that's it. That's it, I'm getting up. I'm going to go downstairs and join the party. I'll be down in a minute, honey. Don't give me that honey bullshit. That was the last time I slept with her. First and last time. So then I started doing a calculation in my head. Okay, let's just start formulating in your head. Blah, blah, blah. And the best place to see Exhibit A, B, and C, and D on the dance floor is a wedding. Dude, go to a wedding sometime, and you can see some real fucked up dudes on the dance floor. They cannot. I mean, this is where really people show their ass on the dance floor at a wedding, because everyone has to dance at a wedding. Everyone has to dance. It's customary. I mean, I've been to a lot of weddings. I mean, shit, my mother was the oldest of 10. I probably have about 50-something first cousins all floating around the country and watching all those people get out on the dance floor and dance. I'd say most of them could dance a little bit. Not because they were family, but they could dance. Maybe because my mom's dad was a musician. I don't know. I've already thrown that out. Musicians aren't a end-all, be-all when being able to dance. But it usually, every now and then I'd go to a party, or not a party, but a wedding throughout the years. And mostly in my late 20s and early 30s when they all started getting married off. And I'd go to these weddings. And I'd say 2/3 of the guys out there couldn't dance. The women couldn't dance either, for that matter. I mean, it was awkward. It was like, you know, again, from the waist up. Oh, yeah, we're having fun now. Oh, yeah. But you look from the waist down, nothing. Nothing's moving. The hips aren't moving. I'm thinking, dud, 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 dud. Lots of duds out there. So weddings, but yeah. Dead from the waist up, dead. I mean, from the waist down, dead, no movement. So then over the years, I just discovered that, you know, I'd say within let's say there wasn't an opportunity to dance. I would make my assessment if a woman could get it on in the sack, if she could kiss, because the kiss, I think everyone could think the kiss is everything, really. I mean, I learned from a woman that was like 20 years older than me. I mean, in high school, I dated a girl that was for 3 years, and, you know, we had sex a couple times, but I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I had no clue. I mean, I didn't know. Neither did she. It was awkward as fuck. So we just ended up being buddies and stuff, but dating, you know. And, but I was a busboy at a restaurant called the Wayside Inn. And it was in a little town, and there was a waitress there named Sheila. I just turned 19 years old, and Sheila was 35, 36 years old, and she'd always flirt with me and rub on me and shit, and honey me this and honey me that, and she was divorced, and she had an hourglass figure, you know. She was all woman. She was all woman. And one night, after work, she said, "Hey Gary, how are you getting home tonight?" I said, "Well, we had to share a car in my family. There was all 4 of us, my siblings. We could drive, so we had to share a car. So I rode my bike to work at night, and from the restaurant that I worked at home was like 3 miles. She goes, "How are you getting home tonight, Gary?" I said, "Well, I'm going to ride my bike." She said, "Well, it's awful dark. I'll give you a ride. You can throw your bike in the back of my truck." I said, "Sure." So we walked out, and she goes, "I got a blanket. Let's go sit out." Because there was a beautiful pond behind the restaurant, like sitting areas and shit like that. We sat out there under the stars, and she showed me a few things. This went on for the entire summer. We made a regular time of it. We probably went back there I don't know, half a dozen times, and she showed me everything I needed to know on how to please a woman. If you guys know what I'm saying, she taught me how to go south of the border, taught me what to do down there. She taught me what to do down there, the rights and wrongs. She goes, go down there and see what you could do. And I got her. She goes, that's not going to work. Get back up here. This is how you do it. It's like you're whitewashing a fence or something. Jesus Christ, Gary. This is how you do it. She taught me everything. Everything. So, and I remember one night, my parents were in there for dinner. And they rarely went to dinner there because they didn't want to disturb me, because they didn't want to make me nervous. And I can remember my parents, because I lived at home, you know. I can remember my parents saying to me, my mom especially, because she was super protective of me. I was the mama's boy. I was just the mama's boy. She was teasing me one day after I got off work. She goes, so you seeing anyone? Have you met anyone at the restaurant? I said, well, yeah, I met a lady. She's real nice. And she said, oh yeah, what's her name? I said, her name is Sheila, Mom. Her name's Sheila. And we've been hanging around a lot. Well, you should bring her by the house sometime. I'm thinking, yeah, that's not gonna fucking happen. But I didn't say that to my mom, you know. Excuse me. Man, it's hot as a cat's crotch in my house. I got the AC at 77. What the fuck? I've never sat in the kitchen this long, so that's probably why. There's air circulation. Anyway, back to Sheila. We should bring her by the house sometime. I'm like, yeah, Mom, that's not gonna happen. Now, I didn't say they were. So yeah, maybe. Well, they were at dinner that night, and I was in the ballroom upstairs for a wedding, because they had the lower level was the actual restaurant, and then they had a ballroom, a real ballroom upstairs. They had weddings and parties and big parties like that. So I was working the ballroom, and so I got. After we cleaned up in the ballroom, it was like 10 o'clock at night. The restaurant closed at 11. I went downstairs, and I was getting ready to leave, and Sheila comes running across the kitchen. She goes, Gary. I said, what? She goes, I met your mom and dad tonight. I said, what? Yeah, I met your mom and dad tonight. I was waiting on them at dinner. I said, really? Well, once they knew my name was Sheila, actually your mom, because your father was clueless, she turned white as a ghost. Did you tell your mom about me? I said, well, she asked me if I was seeing anyone. I said, yeah, I was seeing someone named Sheila. She goes, oh, oops, Gary, oops. I mean, she was maybe, at the time, my mom's age, maybe a little bit younger than my mom. Boy, I didn't hear the end of that when I got home that day. By the time I got home, my mom was waiting for me at the kitchen table. Gary, come in here. Oh man, I got ripped. She is my age. You're sleeping with that? I said, well, Mom, we aren't sleeping together. We never slept anything. I know what you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Oh man, I never heard the end of it. But anyway, going back to the subject at hand, and what I said at the beginning of my episode was that if you can't, and guys and gals alike, if you're out there watching this video right now and you're thinking about this shit and you're thinking, well, Gary's got a valid argument. I'm going to start doing that calculation. I'm going to start seeing if that's true. If she can't dance and she can't kiss, well, then she can't fuck. Because I'd say 99% of the time I was correct with that assessment. Because if you can't dance, you have no rhythm, where are you going to get the rhythm in the sack? And before I get off here, because I know this is going longer than I wanted to go, and I'm hot as a cat's crotch in here. Anyway, I had a buddy of mine that when I was still working, say to me, I was giving him that theory amongst a bunch of other guys in the meat room one day. And he goes, hey, Gary, I can't dance to save my ass. And I've never been big of a kisser, but I can do it like the best of them. I have no complaints, bro. So that theory of yours, you could throw it right out. He was a lot younger than I was. And he goes, I've never had any complaints. He's like, I'm all that in the sack. I have no complaints. And I said, okay, well, let me ask you this. His name was Mark. I said, let me ask you this, Mark. What positions are you using when you're having sex with your suitors, with your girlfriends, well, the flings? He's meeting them up on these Tinder sites. He goes, well, I usually get them doggy style. You know, I love doggy style. I get into that. It feels the best doggy style. Oh, okay. What else? Well, they're on top most of the time. I said, they're on top. They're doing all the work, see? They're doing all the work. All you do is lay there. You give them the supply that they're looking for, but all you do is just lay there. So no, I throw that out right now. Have you ever used missionary position? Nah, fuck that, man. Fuck that. I'm not doing the work. Let them do the work. I got it. I'm hung pretty good. Let them do it. I'm like, well, that just and I didn't want to argue with the lad, you know. I just figured, okay, that throws that out. Obviously, I've never seen him dance, you know. I've never kissed a guy, so I wouldn't want to try that on him, but so that threw that out. So he was doing all the positions that don't require any kind of rhythm. I mean, anyone can pound from behind. Anyone can pound from behind. You don't need rhythm for that. So, and this video went a little bit longer than I wanted to go because I got shit I got to do today. But I mean, I know I'm retired, but I got shit I got to do. I just got to do some errands. But I was thinking about it, and I wanted to talk about it while it's fresh in my mind. Let me know if you like this content. Let me know if you like this kitchen area. I'm not going to do this in here again. It's too fucking hot. But anyway, it's good hanging out and talking to everybody today, and I hope you all have a great day, and I'll catch up to you next time. Peace out.